Okay, I'm going to do a quick tutorial on the basics of InDesign. This is going to be oriented towards creating a zine and specifically a zine for print. So I'm going to start here in InDesign. I just opened it up. It might be a little different depending on what version you have. I have 2021 just because it updates with the cloud, or the Creative Cloud Adobe suite. So you're going to go to File, New, and you may be tempted to go with Book, but choose Document. You can put in any size you'd like, but the standard zine size is half letter, which is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper folded in half, hamburger style. So I have that here in my recent items. You'll have to type in 5.5 for the width, 8.5 for the height. And if yours is in picas or points, change it to inches. It'll make your life a lot easier. Orientation is portrait, and you have two options now. You can, if you know how many pages you want your zine to be, you can type in 24 here, for example, under pages. I always start with only one page, and I'll explain why. It actually makes things easier for you. I keep all of the margins, bleed and slug. I keep everything how it what it defaults to. You're welcome to mess around with that if you are familiar with those terms, but most aren't. So I'm gonna hit create. And here is page 1. At the top, it'll say Windows. And the workspace I'm in, again, Book is fine, but you'll have more options under printing and proofing. Don't work in essentials. Don't work in digital publishing. Select printing and proofing. And what that does is it gives you all the toolbars and menus that you will use when creating something for print. So I always have this Pages tab open. If you don't see it on the right side of your screen, go to Windows and select Pages. This is going to be your layout in a smaller little box, which is super helpful because it gives you an overall perspective of what your zine is going to look like, the order of your pages. I'll show you spreads, and once you have spreads, it'll show you what your spreads looks like. It's really, really helpful. So make sure Pages is open, and actually I just keep it open at all times personally. So page 1. Page 1 is your front cover. And don't let it confuse you that, you start thinking in what's called printer spreads, and you think, oh, well, my cover should be on the left side and my back cover should be on the right side, or vice versa, and you'll confuse yourself. Just think 1 is your front cover, and think whatever your last page is your back cover. The other thing that's really helpful to keep in mind when making a zine is if you're going to go with staple binding, what's called saddle stitch, your page count must be divisible by 4. And that includes blanks, which I add all the time. But it must be divisible by 4 because when you fold that piece of paper into quarters, so if you fold a single sheet of paper in half, you end up with 4 pages. And that's why your zine must be divisible by 4, the page count. So here's the front cover. Text tool I have my margins, like I said, set to the default, which is 1/2 inch. The purple box here is your margin indicator, and that's really helpful because I like to leave a lot of air in my design or paper, and so it really helps to have that 1/2 inch. Some people set it at 1/4, but either or, it's really helpful to have that as a guide, so you know you're not putting text too close to the edge. It might get cut off. It might look strange design-wise. So I'm keeping my title right at right in the margin. And again, I have my margin set to 1/2 inch. Mess around with the fonts. Something like that. Maybe I want to place in a photo. The best way to do that, I mean, there's plenty of different ways you can do that. You can just drag and drop. What I like to do is File, Place. And this is the easiest way. There's a lot of other ways in which you can create a bounding box, place it into that. Maybe I'll even show that. So I'm going to place a photo. There we go. My photo is placed. It's taking up too much of the screen, so I might just, or too much of the page, so I'm just going to shrink it down to 50% here. That pink guide shows up to tell me that it's centered. If I left to right, if I want to center it up and down, there's the pink guide there. Up here on the left, top is your axis. So you can see here, I have it at 2.75, just half, 4 1/4, half again. So again, it's centered. And that's how you place a photo. Another way to place a photo, let's insert page. After page 1, 1 page. So this is now page 2. I'm going to draw a bounding box. So maybe I want a photo to take up my whole page inside of my 1/2 inch margin. So File, Place, do the same thing. Place my photo. At the top here, you go to, let's see, Object, and go to Fitting. And this is how you fit the photo in the frame. Fill frame proportionately, fill content proportionally, content aware fit. Let's try content aware fit. There we go. So that that fit it to show the entire photo. And you can go through all the other options, but I'm not going to at this moment. I'm going to insert another page. And one thing I didn't mention before is that InDesign, when you start a new document, you have the option here that is defaulted to being on called Facing Pages. I don't know why it's called that. Could be a better name, but that's okay. Facing Pages means this. It means that it's going to have the pages in your layout in InDesign be butt up against each other in what's called spreads. And the way that we're setting this up right now in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is what's called reader spreads. It's how you read a zine. Later, maybe I'll show how to do printer spreads. But for now, we have a spread here. I'm going to show you how to create a photo spread. So, object fitting, I want to fit content. All right, so it doesn't exactly fit perfectly in my box. I can drag this up, which I just do because a little OCD. You can also double click here and it fits the bounding box to the photo. So right now I have a spread. And these in your zine will be 2 different sheets of paper, but they will, similarly to how they're shown in InDesign, be butt up against each other to create this spread. So I can even increase this and create what's called a bleed. So right now we have a bleed on the left side and the right side. You want to have at least 1/4 of an inch here on the bleed, and you'll see why in a moment. And then if I were to increase this more, 1/4 inch all the way around, this is called full bleed, meaning it bleeds on the top, left, right, and bottom. So say that I'm going to insert 2 pages here. So say that you had something you liked that you created. So you had something here that was your title, and you had it formatted how you liked it in your font. And then maybe you have something over here that is text, text, text. And you say, I want my whole zine to look like this. Maybe I'll change it a little bit, but pretty much I want every page to be like this. You can right click here and duplicate page, which will duplicate it at the very end. Or you can highlight both here in pages. I did a shift click, highlighted both, and you can duplicate spread. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so I just duplicated that whole spread. So here it is, here it is. Again, and I can go title 2, and I can go, text, 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 text. So that's why I don't start my document with 50 pages, because I like a lot of repetition for ease of design mostly, and consistency. That's also what's great about master pages is you can create a master page here, which I'll do just for fun. I'll show you what that means. Let's go to type, and we're going to insert a special character, current page number, A. The reason that this current page number is A is because we're on the master, which is called A. We just fit frame to the text. I'll do this fairly quickly just because it's not the details I'm showing you. I'm just giving you a general idea of how a master page works. So there's the current page number. It's on the left side of the spread, so that's the left-facing page, and it will only be on the left-facing page. So say I want the page number on the bottom center of the left-facing page of every spread. I can select all here, which is Command A. I'll just shift. There we go. And I can apply master to pages. I would like to apply master to all pages, yes. So now, if I click on any of these pages, the left-facing page will have the item from the master. In this case, a page number, but it could have anything. It could have a footer, it could have a big, let's do just something fun for color. Just fill this with red. So now that I've made this on my master, let's go to our left-facing pages. So now we have our page number and our red banner at the top. Same thing goes for, and I'm just copy and pasting. That's how I'm creating these objects over again. Green banner on the right side. And there we go. Now our pages have a red banner and a green banner. The last thing I'm gonna show design related is I'm gonna select this photo, And right now I'm like, where's my banners? Where's my page numbers? I applied the master to all pages. It should apply to this. It's helpful for design as well. We're gonna go to object. I'm gonna go to arrange. Why is it selected? Let's see. Maybe it won't. Oh, there we go. It is underneath. So maybe I'll try it with another photo. It's not gonna let me do it with these master items. It just placed it on top. No, Control C, Control V. All right, so now we have two of the same image. Pretend they're different images. And I'll also draw a solid box. Let's see, let's make it white. And maybe I'll, you know, hypothetically have some text in there. I would like this image to be in front of this image. And if you can't select it, see how I'm having a hard time selecting things that are on top of, they don't know what I'm trying to select. When I click, go to option click. Oh, sorry, it's not option click. Excuse me, it's command click. Hold down command and click, and you can switch between these two boxes. Bounding box is much easier. Same with this one, just you can click between them, even if you're clicking on this box. Okay, so I want to, like I said, bring this image to the front. So I'm going to go to object, arrange, bring to front. Now I want it all the way in the back. I'm going to go to object, arrange, send to back. Maybe I want this to have 50% opacity. This is a little shortcut at the top to opacity. Type in 50. Now I can see my image. If for some reason I wanted to move this in front of my white bounding box, I would go to object, arrange, bring to front. Object, arrange, send backward, but not all the way to the back is backward. There we go. And if I want to send it all the way back, object, arrange, send it back. So right now we have our pages, 7 pages and 4 spreads. That's helpful to know because right now this zine is unbindable. That's again because it's not divisible by 4. So I'm going to insert one more page. There we go. I'm going to clear my items on this master page. And now they're gone off of all of our pages. So right now I have a front cover, an inside page, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back cover 8. So 8 pages and 5 spreads. This is bindable. And although it may seem confusing, it is helpful to have the first and last page floating as single pages like this, as opposed to spreads, because this this cover page is going to be connected butt up against this back cover page when they're put into printer spreads. So that's why you wouldn't design them as spreads in InDesign. So front cover, inside pages, back cover, put something here, back cover. I'm like, yeah, this looks, I don't like this font, I don't like the size. I want it to look like my title. Let's say like the front cover. There's a way to do that. It's called a style. You can do paragraph styles, you can do character styles. Right now we're going to do a character style because we want to save this, the style of this character and use it later. We're going to go to, it's under type. We're going to go to character. Will bring up all the options for this character right here. I have the shortcut at the top because I'm in proofing and printing workspace. Printing and proofing. Okay, sorry, so go back to type and go to character style. So right now, if I were to highlight this, I could save it. It's under no character style right now. It says none. Right here at the bottom, there's a plus sign, which is create new character style. I'm going to hit plus. And this is character style 1. You can keep it as that name. I like to name them, I'm going to name it as our cover font style. Okay. And what that does is it saves everything about the style, the line height, the fact that it's bold, 40 point, Futura, right here, all that information, and you can add a strike through option, you underline, you can add any style you'd like. But I just created a character style. So in a zine like this, we would have a character style for the titles, we would have a character style for the inside page text, we would hit plus, we would rename it, which is text style, which is going to have, excuse me, the 12 point, bold, same thing. I forgot to highlight it, so now it's, there we go. Text style. If I were to click cover font style, it would change it to that. We want to keep it as text. And now when we go to back cover, like I said, this, we're going to do Control A, and I'm going to hit cover font style, and now everything matches. Center justify it too. I'll put it centered at the top, and now that's how you can create fast, easy, consistent design with your zine, if that's something you're going for. If you're not, then go crazy, use as many fonts as you'd like. But that's something that I do when I'm creating a zine with a lot of text. The last thing I'm going to show you is how to export your file. So like I said, we have the correct number of pages. Our spreads look good. We have plenty of bleed, which is the image in this case, going off of the page. You need 1/8 of an inch at the least, 1/4 of an inch, the most, which is the best. You can bleed text too. We can put this over here, have it bleed off the page. So we're going to save and export this for print. We're going to go to File, Save As. I'm a little anal about how I title my zines, so this I'm going to call my test zine. I put the size, I put the number of pages, I put as much information as I can because I often forget, or maybe I create a different version that's a 12 page, not an 8 page. So this is 5.5, 8.5, 8 pages, and sometimes I put more information. Today I'm going to keep it simple. I'll just save it to my desktop for now. And if I were to send this to someone else for print, I would go to File, Export. The format that you want to export it in is Adobe PDF for print. Interactive is just what it sounds like. It's if you want someone to edit and interact with your PDF. You probably don't want your printer doing that in most cases. So we're just going to go to Adobe PDF for print. And I'm going to save. And here's the confusing part that really trips people up. So I'll go over this, even though it's maybe more information than some want to have. Always select high quality print. Press quality is a little misleading. Just choose high quality. That's the highest quality, which is what you want. If you'd like, you can export them in spreads. Your printer will not want them in spreads, since, like I said, they're going to change them from single pages in reader spreads to printer spreads. So you can change all these settings for viewing. don't do that for your printer. The only thing we need to do, since our zine bleeds, is go to marks and bleeds. I'll go down this list, why not? So crop marks are where the printer or binder would cut your zine. That means if it was printed on an oversized sheet, larger than 8.5x11 in this case, maybe a 9x12 inch sheet, they would then cut it down to 8.5x11, and these crop marks, also known as trim marks, that's what those indicate. Those indicate where that 8.5x11 is on that 9x12 inch sheet. Bleed marks, I don't know anyone who's ever needed or used these. This indicates where your bleed ends. May be helpful for someone, I'm not sure how or why. It's confusing sometimes to have both crop marks and bleed marks because you want them to trim on the trim marks, so select crop marks, not bleed marks. Registration marks. This is good for different types of printing, screen printing, for example, where they're trying to register, which means like a line, maybe multiple colors or layers or pages front to back. I'll show you what these are another time, but a normal printer would probably use the crop marks or not have to worry about registration at all if their printer is calibrated correctly. Color bars, this is for offset printing. The plates themselves used will have their own color bars. Again, kind of extra, don't need them. Page information. I like putting page information on when I'm printing my own project, because what that does is outside of your trim or crop marks, it will put the name of your file, what page, what form, meaning what sheet. So it'll say sheet 2, page 2, and that really helps me when I'm putting together a zine. It also has like the date it was last edited, which is helpful. I like page information. It doesn't hurt for printers to have page information because it's outside of the trim mark. So feel free to click that or don't. The most important thing to include, which a lot of people forget to, even if they have their image bleeding off the page correctly, is include the bleed in the export, not just in the file. So what that means is that the PDF that this high quality print ready PDF we're creating, we want it to have bleeds. We want it to have an 1/8 of an inch bleed at least. So I'm just gonna say an 1/8 of an inch. If we had, when we created our document, added bleeds after the margin and when I said here slug and bleed, we could use document bleed settings. But I didn't, so I'm adding them now, which is fine. Makes no difference. So there is our bleed. If we, what this little button here includes slug is that page information printers used to call a slug. So that would add extra room for that page information if this 1/8 of an inch wouldn't do it. I believe if you click page information, it adds the page information unless it really can't fit. But including a slug area would leave extra room outside of the bleed, outside of the crop marks, for you to maybe write in information or additional page information. So when I export, I'm going to add crops and page information, and I'll add registration marks so you can see what those are. This is asking how far away from your art do you want your registration marks. I'm going to leave everything as default. The thickness of the registration marks and crop marks. I'm just going to hit export. And while this is exporting, I'll show you that when you go to export, if these settings are something you're going to use over and over again, hit save and save them as an export setting. gonna hit save, replace. All right, let's wait until it's done. This little bar here says there's a background task, and the background task is that it's exporting. I guess these photos are pretty big because this is taking a minute. Okay, it's done. So now when I go to export, I'm just going to show you this as an example. Go to save. Yes. Replace. Okay, so when you're in this dialog box, the export PDF dialog box, like I said, if I use these settings a lot, and I'm with my registration marks, my page information, crop marks, 1/8 of an inch bleed, you can save this preset and say, yeah, print PDF preset. Okay, and now, instead of selecting all these every time, just go to your print PDF preset and hit export. It's exporting again now. But the good news is that you won't forget to add bleeds or registration marks or crop marks in this case, because you saved your preset. It's just another way to make things faster and foolproof them for yourself, because it's a lot to remember, especially if you're new to InDesign. It doesn't come as, yes, I know we're exporting. It doesn't come as quickly, so make things as easy and repetitive as possible. It'll help you in the end. And another strange thing that InDesign does is after you export, it's going to ask you to save your PDF again. It's not really strange, because what it's asking is, do you want to save those export settings associated with this PDF? And I'll say sure. So when I close this, it's going to say, do you want to save again? And I will save over my old version just to be safe. This is still exporting. My computer takes a moment. So once this is done, we're going to take a look at that PDF we exported and see how it looks.